In that time, yeah, okay.
Start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to
to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, can we have a roll call of the board members?
Yulee.
Here.
Robertson.
Here.
Klein.
Here.
Augustinelli.
Here.
Fudge.
Here.
Racine is absent and excused, and good.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum.
All right, and next we have an opportunity for public comment, and as I see, we have some public comment here today. You're welcome to step up to the podium and state your name and address, and then share your public comment with us. Please know that on our agenda, we have the YouthWorks special use permit public hearing, so you can certainly make a statement now, but that we prefer that you save your statements for the public hearing for that particular project. Otherwise, please step forward and make your comment. I guess seeing no one raise to, oh, go ahead.
Well, we're Kim and Jeff Dent from JK Futures, but we're also on the agenda later for the half-day preschool.
Yeah, you'll have an opportunity to speak then, yeah,
Applicants
as
will
applicants.
get to speak with their agenda items, yes.
Thank you for asking.
All right.
All right, well, we will close the public comment period and move on to review and approval of the agenda and statements of any conflict of interest.
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Support.
Motion made by Augustinelli, supported by Klein. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same. Motion passes. And we move on next to review of the minutes from our August 27th, 2025 meeting.
I think the only thing I noticed when looking at them on page 4, just as an item for the next agenda, which happens to be this agenda, it should be 3344 Cast Road. Happens to be the correct address of that location.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes as updated.
Support. Motion by Robertson, support by Fudge. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same. Motion passes. All right, and we move on to correspondence. And it looks like we have several pieces of correspondence. Why don't you give us the rundown on them, Steve?
All right. So yeah, on your desks, there's a couple things. A letter was addressed to the Plan Commission regarding the proposed Creekside Apartments. A couple meetings ago, you saw a conceptual review for that. Staff has not received a formal application as of today. We can reach back out to the folks who did the conceptual review and see what their plans are, but we have not received anything to that effect at this time. And then the rest was exhibits related to the Ivy Brook, which is item 7B. Yeah. So the rest goes with that agenda item.
Okay. Thank you for that, Steve. We'll move on now to reports from the members of the Planning Commission. Anything from the Township Board, Melly?
Short meeting and nothing of note.
Okay. Zoning Board of Appeals, Bob?
Yes, we had a meeting. We had 2 items on the agenda, which were 2 neighbors having a land dispute about drainage under their property. And anyway, one guy says he's got it fixed, the other one says no, and it was tabled again for the 4th time. I'll be back again next week.
All right. The Parks and Recreation Commission did not meet. And I don't believe, did the Joint Planning Commission meet?
No.
Steve?
Next week.
I don't believe they did. No.
Okay.
Next week.
All right. Anything to report from the staff, Steve?
Our report is provided in writing, the same report that went to the board for their meeting yesterday. A few items I wanted to note, also attached, or not attached to this report, but also provided under staff report, was an update on the High Tops project proposed for the Cherryland Center. They are doing they did a acoustical impact assessment, and that is what is provided just as information. Township has entered into an agreement with another firm to do a peer review of that. That is ongoing as of right now. So once that's completed, the agenda item's been tabled. So once we have more information, we'll bring it back to Plan Commission.
Okay.
Otherwise, I think the other only notable thing, well, you would have known at the at your study session that the CIP had been adopted. Yeah, that was the only other thing of note in the monthly report, along with all of our administrative site plan reviews. But okay.
Any questions the commission has for Steve? All right. We will move on to our next agenda item, which is item number 6, unfinished business, PD 2025-94, Youth Works Special Use Permit, public hearing.
Okay.
You want to give us a little intro, Steve?
Yeah, we'll do a little intro. So you saw this was introduced at the last month's meeting, and public hearing scheduled for today. This is the site up on Cedar Run Road, 5 acres, headquarters of the Youth Work program. So this, a few updates from the previous meeting, followed up on this section 525, which was the groundwater protection related to things like hazardous materials. The applicants pointed out or clarified how much materials are on site. Typically, they're saying typically less than 10 gallons and more just in 1 gallon containers. The actual section of 525, it does say the requirement or the triggering requirement is quantities greater than 100 kilograms per month, which is equal to about 25 gallons. So they seem to be under the threshold. We also reached out to, they indicated their applicator through MDARD. So we did reach out to MDARD just to see if there's any additional information. They didn't really have anything much to add. So it appears that they're under the threshold and they have a way to manage it through MDARD, and there didn't seem to be any additional concerns. We were thinking that it appears that they're under that threshold. If Planning Commission wanted to, at some point, if there's an approval with conditions, you can always cite that if you are found to ever have an amount that would trigger that provide information to verify that they would be in compliance with that. But as of right now, it doesn't appear that they are. So at least in the due diligence that we found, they updated some information for the parking lot, just putting some of the clarifying information. They did also update their site plan to remove one of the ingress-egress points on Cedar Run Road, one up by the house, to actually just make it a T turnaround, so you can still turn around and face the road when you're trying to get out, because it is a major road, but so the T turnaround makes sense. But to remove one of the ingress-egress. And then I think the only other thing was just to clarify a couple things with landscaping details. But otherwise, applicants are here as well if you have questions, and the public hearing is scheduled for this meeting.
All right, with that, if we'll open up the public hearing, and anybody who'd like to step up to the podium, state your name, address, and any comments you may have regarding the Youth Works Special Use Permit. As we have no one appearing to have any comment, we'll close the public hearing. See, guys, I'm using it more now. If I start using it too much, you're going to tell me to back off.
Makes it look like you have authority.
All right, with that, we've closed the public hearing. I guess we'll turn it over to the commission. Do we have any more questions for the applicant? Any more thoughts or concerns, questions for Steve regarding the application? Well, would anybody like to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make the motion to direct staff to prepare findings of fact for application SUP 2025-02, submitted by Ashley Ayala of Youth Work for a special use permit for institutional use at 5855 Cedar Run Road, parcel 0500701500 for review at the regular planning commission meeting on October 8th, 2025.
Support?
All right, we have a motion by Augustinelli with support by Klein. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same. Motion passes. Yeah. All right, thank you all for attending. And we'll move on to our next agenda item, number 7. We have several items of new business. And we will start with item A, PD 2025-95, Olson Property Rezoning Request Introduction.
So the Olson property is over at the corner of US 31 and Rennie School Road, the northwest corner, and kind of behind some of the existing commercial. The parent parcel was like well over 100 acres, or 171 acres. There were recently some parcel splits that occurred. So there's 4 recently created parcels, and recently, like in the last month, parcel divisions actually occurred here. There's a map later in the application that kind of clarifies this, but they have proposed a rezoning. Currently, the original parent parcel was split between mostly CG, general commercial, and a strip of R3. They proposed, with the new boundaries, 1 parcel of R3, 2 of IG, general industrial, and then 1 remaining as CG. You may recall, I think it was a couple years ago, there was a conceptual review that came for the Olson property that showed some of these same ideas of kind of what to do with this rather large property, and we discussed it as well when we reviewed the master plan, and that was identified as one of the mixed-use areas, sort of there's anticipated development here. It's currently mostly zoned CG. What was anticipated here, both in the study of the master plan and knowing the nature of that particular site and both the development potential and the intent of the owners, was to create some roads through there, basically an extension of Stadium Drive and an extension of kind of directly across from Blue Star Drive. These are reflected in the parcel splits, rezoning, where a road is defined, and the other part would be extension of utilities to this area, at least the concept of kind of the major utilities. Gordy Fraser has been reviewing that, and there's some information from Gordy Fraser, the township engineer, as well in the packet. So what is being proposed, or what is being applied for, is a rezoning. So any future developments would be handled under some type of development review, depending on what they are, site plan or special use permit at that point. But what is being proposed right now is the rezoning. I think the clearest part of the application, there's a sheet C2. I might just pull it up here real quick. I think Bill is also going to pull up a... You have it on a placard?
I think
Yeah.
I got C1 instead of C2.
Okay, either one of those should be fine. I want to see if I can just find it on ours as well. Put it on the screen. Apologize in advance for the large packet that you received. Right. So that clarifies, does that show you've got the existing and then the proposed?
That is correct.
All right. So yeah, that's the existing and proposed in this application. So applicants are here if they'd like to also add some details, and if you have any questions for them.
Bill Crade with Crane Engineering as the site designer for the project, along with Brad Olson with the Olson Foundation. As Steve kind of said, our proposal tonight is for a rezoning for this little over 171 acre piece. Just in the last month, it's been split into 4 parcels with a combination of some commercial, industrial, and high-density residential. The map that's up on the screen kind of is the best orientation. The map on the left-hand side is the existing zoning. So about 2/3, a little over 2/3 of the property is currently zoned CG, Commercial General, along with the westerly strip as high-density residential zone. So, and on the right-hand side is our proposal for the rezoning, keeping the southeasterly corner as a commercial zone. The middle gray area would be proposed as an industrial zone, and then the northwest corner would be the high-density residential, kind of reorienting the high-density residential on the property, along with kind of following the suit on the east side of the property along 37, 31, and Rainy School Road is kind of being the commercial. And as part of our packet, we've done some market studies, and the industrial portion of the property, a lot of the industrial properties out there are not very many. So the intent and the use of an industrial location in this area really suits the township, suits the area, kind of follows with the mixed use of the master plan. As Steve did say, kind of on the right-hand side of that map, the white areas are our proposed road system. The main road that runs north-south would be a continuation of Stadium Drive. It's directly across the road from Stadium Drive that comes from the ballpark and the storage buildings. And then it actually intersects up on Meadow Lane Drive on the north-hand side. We have been in negotiations with the Grand Traverse County Road Commission, and we are looking at that would be a public extension or public road extension with a Class A or an all-season designation to service the industrial park along with the high-density residential. The other 2 stubs right now will probably be a private system, the loop road in the center along with the drive that goes east-west, which kind of goes between Action Water Sports and Once Upon a Time is the northerly drive, which goes out into 31. It will be a private drive, but it'll be, majority of the road has been constructed along the commercial portion of the development. It is built as a all-season road, even though it's a private road classification. It has been installed or built to those current standards, but it still will remain as a private drive. We have been in discussions with the township, along with the township engineer, and Brad will probably allude to that a little bit about utilities. There are going to be some extensions to the public utilities, water and sewer, that will need to be done off-site to service the on-site needs. But as a whole, the development will be serviced by public water and sewer, along with the other utilities, gas, cable, fiber, and Brad and the Olson Foundation have been in discussions with the other utilities at this time. One portion of this is kind of in the southwest corner. There's the big gray area on the west side of the proposed drive. It's a 40-acre parcel that is currently under contract by Chairline Electric. And Chairline Electric is here tonight if there are any questions about what they might be using for the property. But that is one piece of the pie that is part of this industrial zoning for their future development for their new offices. The other portion of the industrial park, I think as part of our pack, we have provided kind of a conceptual layout of multiple sized units within that development. More than likely it's going to be a site condominium, similar to Hammond Industrial Center or Blue Star Estates. Combination of some small lots to big lots. I know that doesn't really play into the rezoning portion of it, but it was something that the township felt that if we came up with a good design or a good plan of what our intents are for this area, that would help with this process for the rezoning. Like I said, Steve said, there's four larger lots, and that's kind of our proposal for the rezoning. And I can let Brad, if you have questions, I guess, yeah, if there's any questions of the two of us, we're here to answer any questions that you may have.
Why don't, Brad, if you wanted to say anything, and then we'll open it up to
Just,
questions from the.
just, we've done all the engineer drawings, bring water up from McCray Hill. Been working diligently with Jennifer and Mark Lund from Prince Lund Engineering. Just getting the details worked out, man. It sounds like there's totally light at the end of the tunnel, and she's pretty much proved everything. Still, I think there's a couple of segments on McCray Hill that they're working out the details, if I remember right.
As far as I remember, I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
We'll double check with Jennifer, yeah.
So that's working out fine, getting that up there. Other than that, once we get the water up to the property and stuff, and sewer, we got to probably increase the capacity on the south side of Kentucky, which we're all aware of between us, and working that detail out. And the engineers are working on it, and I just keep on telling them, keep on going. Engineers are engineers, and I'm not. So, any questions there?
All right, thank you.
The only
Yeah.
ingress egress would be just the existing one there on 37. It's
The
existing coming in.
ingress and egress, what I tried to do is make a traffic flow to take traffic off of the highway, in and out. So we got one off of Running School Road. On south end, you got Meadow Lane, and then you got that east-west road that's showing right there. And that actually, right there, that east-west road, you actually have two turnouts. Off that commercial property, we already have that ingress and egress with the accelerated lane and deceleration.
Yeah, because there's the existing, I guess call it an access drive that runs in front of Once Upon a Time all the way down to Kentucky Fried Chicken. So you actually got two existing entrances off onto US 31.
Yeah. So actually, people from Meadow Lane can go all the way south to Chum's Corners, right through the park and all that, just cross Running School Road, which is the ultimate that the road commission was looking for that.
Molly?
That was my question, was on that access road that's existing there from Kentucky Fried North. All of these other, Once Upon a Child, Camping World, all that, and Kentucky Fried, are they going to change from having access to 31? Are the rest of those businesses will only have access onto that access road, or they
No,
will go
if you
across
look at that, is it right here?
The existing lots will will use the access drive.
Yeah, it's not showing it right here, but there's an access drive here.
Yeah.
Ultimately, if Kentucky Fried was right here and somebody wanted to go down Silver Lake, they'd just go like run here and run up Silver Lake
My
Road.
concern is the curb cuts onto 31. If you only have it on the access road that you have that runs east and west,
Mhm.
and the rest of those lots all come up the existing access road that you have, and go to that east-west road, and then go to 31, I mean, that would be something that I would prefer, rather than having them each be able to shoot onto 31. Are they,
The existing lots you're talking about?
I'm talking about the new lots, Sunset Rentals, Camping World, Once Upon a Child, and Action Water Sports.
That road, that's a Commerce Drive, and it's already been established, and that has accelerated lanes and decelerated lanes, right?
Correct.
Okay, well,
And
maybe you can highlight what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
so
I
here's,
could, I could go to
please
that
do.
screen over there
So-
and,
yeah, let's zoom in here a
There you
little
go.
bit. So here's 31, here's Blue Star, here's Action Water Sports, here's Once Upon a Child. What you label as Camping World is here, so
Yep.
they must be under contract for that?
Yes.
it's an existing lot that they bought.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, Fox Motor owns it, or.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say, I don't remember a development plan coming in? for
No.
Not yet,
that?
There
Okay.
isn't.
Okay, so-
It's just
TBD on that, okay.
Yep.
Here's Sunset, and then KFC's, yeah.
So each one of those businesses are going to have access onto 31
None of them will have direct access out of 31. They'll all have access to the service drive.
to that one service drive
That is
that's
correct.
already in there.
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
So
That's
no new
my
curb
question.
cuts
No
on
new
31.
curb cuts onto 31.
All right.
Yeah, yeah.
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 that's
Right, sorry,
my
yeah.
question. Thank you.
Is there any talk with the road commission to turn Rennie School Road into all season to get at least up to the light?
Actually, they came to us when Blaine's came in and asked for more property to widen that road. And we believe all the way up to
Stadium
that
Drive.
Stadium Drive, it may be already a Class A road.
Okay, but if it ain't, it's gonna be.
I'm not sure exactly the distance, and I'm just trying to confirm that with them, especially for Cherry Lane Electric. You got the big trucks and stuff like
Yeah.
that going in and out of there. Obviously, they're probably would be exempt for emergencies and stuff.
So will Cherryland have a curb cut on Rennie School Road?
There's already an existing curb cut on that property. that we will-
So you're gonna use that Tramps Field one? So you are gonna use that? And then, are you gonna be able to get,
We will have two cuts.
I'm sorry, actually, if we, just so everybody
Yeah.
can hear you and can get recorded, I appreciate it.
Yep, it's a videoed meeting.
Name and address, please, if you would.
Frank Sipker, Cherry Line Electric Cooperative, 5930 US 31 South, Grand, Michigan. Our current site plan, which has to go through a site plan review process after this rezoning is done, we're not allowed to do that in advance, unfortunately. But we currently propose to have curb cuts on Stadium Drive for our member access, our employee access, and our truck access. That existing cut on Rennie School Road, we do plan to maintain as well for kind of an exit cut, and then also for shipping and receiving. So the big semi-trucks would come directly on and off of Rennie School Road. The rest of the traffic would predominantly come off of Stadium Drive. Is our current plan.
And Steve, would that be a use by right that would be reviewed by the staff? Or would it be, would it warrant a planning commission review?
I think we were determining kind of the uses specifically. Once we get the full application, I think we can make that determination or bring it to plan commission.
We believe we would be considered a contractor establishment, a major contractor establishment, and that is a use by right in that zoning district. So
Yeah.
again, once all the details are nailed down, once we have this approved
Yeah.
on the zoning, and we know that this is what our zoning is going to be,
Yeah.
then we will apply for the land use permit. And it'll certainly involve some form of a site plan review, whether it's
Yeah.
staff or commission,
Yeah.
we're not sure yet.
We'll let you know either way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Holly?
So if we change the zoning, Cherryland's going to come back to us again with their uses? or-
They will submit a development review. It'll either be site plan administrative, or if it is something that involves a special land use, it would come back to planning commission. So that's final details to be determined, but yeah. Yeah. And then, the curb cut onto Rennie School, I believe it's in the ordinance where there's the one curb cut per roadway frontage, I think so there'd be a new road established, and I believe the site plan that was drawn up shows one on each, and it kind of separates the,
Yeah, we've got multiple proposed
Yeah.
on Stadium Drive. Again, to limit
Yeah.
conflicting traffic within our parking lots between members visiting to check in at the front office, and then employees which are coming into a secured fenced-in gate area, and then one for the large truck traffic, so that we don't have a congestion problem, kind of in those parking lot areas and backups with security fencing and stuff. So we've got some staging areas for those larger trucks and things that have to go through the gate that are separate, and we don't get member traffic confused into those, so. That's the current proposal, but obviously that's subject
that would all be
to-
part of the development
subject to
review.
the development.
We're getting ahead of ourselves a
Yeah,
little bit,
yeah, yeah. So I'll have to go through the road commission, I assume, for access permits and,
They would review that too, because
Yeah.
there's standards in our zoning ordinance and then the road commission both for the access, so we'll make
this
sure
is
that
a
both are
large
met.
campus
Yeah.
site, we're talking 40 acres of development here, so we've got a lot going on, so
Yeah.
we do need to have some kind of spread out access for some of that.
Yeah.
Okay, are we seeing a deceleration lane on Rennie School? Is that what I'm,
There will be, yes. As part of our permitting process and the public road extension, yes, we will be working. And I think as part of our development package, there are some details in the packet about kind of what that's going to look like. But yes, that'll be some final details through the road commission once we get ready for construction, yes.
Other
So,
question? Go ahead, Joe.
on the industry, can you guys do some staff research and see what the setbacks, what they were at R3 versus what they're gonna be in the industrial part and the heights of the buildings? Is that, just so we know that for next meeting, but if that's.
We can put that as like, yeah, just a kind of table of some of those standards. It would just be a summary of kind of what's in the ordinance, but just to have them as a comparison. I know there was a question about like buffering, which would also be part of a development review. I think it was, it goes by use, not necessarily district, but industrial to any kind of residential was type D. It was one of the most intense of the buffers, which I think is like 4 large trees, 3 medium small, and 3 evergreen every 100 feet. So any industrial to residential would involve a pretty extensive landscape buffer. And there are a few areas in the township that have R3 to IG buffering each other, or are at least across the street. Robinwood Court and Town and Country, we're reviewing an administrative site plan right in that area. Park Drive and Woodmere, they're at least across the street from each other. So there's at least some where they can coexist. I think landscaping would mostly take care of any potential concerns with that, but that would be a development review question at that point.
So on that, it's the R1 or the agricultural land to the west that I'm concerned about protecting, not the
Right.
R3 versus the industrial.
And
then, so that setback, I'd be interested to see if it changes from what's here now. But then also on that, the water and sewer, or the water that's coming up there, is there enough water coming up there to serve that whole section of land? Not just your, are we thinking of the
working with
future?
Jennifer and stuff, they're taking they've already got one high-pressure pump that they're bringing in from another site that was in another, and she just basically said they already had that portion of it, and she's got that engineered drawings working on that, and it'll supply all of us.
But they're gonna supply enough water for the property to your west too?
The Christensen, or the.
Speaking to the mic.
reservation.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. With the reservation, or tanks that are in-ground tanks, excuse me, off of Christensen's spot up there on McCray Hill. And that, from what I've been told, the high-pressure pump's going to sit right off of there. And he's been working very good with the township on making that happen.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Molly?
Yeah.
Those utility infrastructure changes that are going to happen are at the expense of the developer? Is that?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
You gonna be able to get electricity there?
It's consumers.
Gotta wait until those guys get up there.
Oh, is it? Oh, Frank, I was.
We have
might
a
change.
preliminary agreement with consumers that we can self-serve our own loads, and we do have power on the property already, so.
I assumed you'd bring it with you. What do we have for any other questions or concerns? So I did mention to Steve in an earlier conversation, what and you alluded to it, and Joe, you brought up some good things as well along the same lines. I'm curious to understand, because, Cherryland's a great service provider for our entire region, and I don't doubt that they're going to do a great development. But I am wary of the changes in zoning, and then understanding what the implications of use by right, buffers, and, because the one thing, I'm less concerned about the general industrial buffered against the general commercial fronting on US 31. It seems, in my opinion, to be quite compatible, and that whatever buffers and adjacencies that we have in place in the standard zoning ordinance, that we could expect that any development that did not come before us, that the ordinance and as a use by right staff review would be likely be pretty reasonable and not to be concerned about. But I am concerned about the the change to industrial as it would buffer against the R3 multifamily residential. I mean, I think we'd all like to see, you included, I'm sure, want to see a really great residential development go in there, and we want to have it well buffered against the IG industrial. And I just want to make sure we all understand the implications of those bufferings and whether we think it's going to be, whether we have any concerns at all. And I'm not sure if I do or don't. I definitely want to go out there and look at the property. There's a lot of grade change, which, I think some of it's a real, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of it's a real gradual slope. And the bulk of the, just based on the aerial, the bulk of the residential parcel is wooded right now.
That is correct, yes.
So it's feasible to expect that the residential multifamily would probably be nestled in amongst those woods and might add to the buffering, but if it's all use by right, we would have a limited ability to influence the design. Not that, it would be nothing that you guys, it wouldn't be good, it would be good what you would bring to us. But, so those are my concerns, it certainly can be sussed out as we move forward. I don't see any reason for it to, that additional information to delay. I think the recommended motion was to take it to public hearing, correct?
Mm-hmm. Those are good questions, and just as a reminder, I know Planning Commission already knows this, but as a rezoning, you're looking at just the rezoning, and it's good to highlight that, yes, well, we have a proposed development that would then be reviewed under that. We're looking at it as to what is anything possible in that zoning district that could come in down the line, if plans change,
Brings to mind, thank you, actually, if you could kind of provide us with a little bit of a summary. I know it's in the ordinance, but, just provide us with a little bit of summary of what the changes would be, so we can understand, again, what uses might come before us, where we would have some influence and feel more comfortable, versus what influence, what staff would be obligated to review and approve, based on the changes in zoning.
Absolutely.
So. I don't have anything else to say then. If anybody else, any other comments, or would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion that application Z 2025-01 submitted by the Olson Foundation to rezone parcels 05-032-001-07, 05-032-001-08, 05-032-001-09, and 05-032-011-001-06, located at the northwest corner of Rennie School Road and North US 31 South from its current configured zoning of CG-commercial and R3 multifamily residential to a new configuration of R3 multifamily residential, IG general industrial, and CG general commercial in accordance with a proposed development plan be scheduled for a public hearing for the October 8th, 2025 Planning Commission regular meeting.
Support.
All right, we have a motion by Klein, support by Agostinelli. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same. Motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
We'll pause for a minute while I fold up all these papers and, All right, next on our agenda, we have item B under new business, PD 2025-96, Lake Point PUD Ivy Brook Academy, minor amendment. Steve, why don't you take it away?
Okay. That zoomed way out. Okay. So this is a proposed childcare center in the existing Lake Point Plain Development, a different portion of the Lake Point PUD than Plan Commission just recently reviewed. A different part where some residential was proposed along the river. This is an existing, there's a couple office buildings on an existing parcel on Forest Ridge Drive. This one is currently vacant and proposes childcare center. There's quite a few exhibits that were included in the applicant's materials. There's also a little bit of background as to what is being applied for as a minor amendment. When this first came to staff, we kind of made a determination based on what was in the original. We did some research into the original Lake Point PUD. It envisioned a mix of uses, as PUDs do. It used more kind of general language. It had envisioned a mix of commercial and office, especially on that southern portion of the PUD, which has the offices and the commercial, like the furniture store. Certain parts of the application at that time identified some examples, but mostly just had the broader language of defining commercial and office. So it is another commercial use, but childcare center, it does have the added requirements of things like the playground and its own supplemental requirements. So it will involve like some minor site plan changes, which is why it was brought as a minor amendment. So that's how it got in front of Planning Commission, by the way. And so staff put in, there is an actual section of determining a minor amendment. So we put, staff put some bullet points together for those items to identify it as a minor amendment. And then looked at some of the review criteria for a minor amendment, and then also the specific requirements of the child care centers. So they, in their application, indicate they have essentially 2 sessions. They have like a day session and afternoon session. They indicate first session will be about 50 to 80 students. Session 2 will be 40 to 60. That they don't actually offer the second session until session 1 is full in the second or third year of their operation. So with any childcare center, or we've seen some of these where there's a high pickup and drop off, kind of peak traffic, and this one's a little bit different than the last childcare center you looked at was at existing church. So you had a little bit different site dynamics where you had that already has a peak on Sundays, and so it could handle the pickup drop off a little easier with that existing parking lot and existing structure of that building. Here is more converting an office building that doesn't otherwise have a use. Currently it's otherwise vacant. So there was some kind of just questions on that specifically, and most of staff's comments were just on some of the kind of site plan elements. There's a lot of details with the application based on the building itself, but kind of needing more of the site plan details, especially some of the things on pickup drop-off. I did a site visit yesterday as well, just to take a look. One kind of notable thing about this parcel in particular, there's that office building to the north. They're both part of the same parcel. There's no like separate like site condo for that. Like it's 2 buildings on one parcel, and it's a shared parking lot and shared entrance from Forest Ridge. So more just evaluating this proposal in terms of is it still going to be compatible with things around it, given that kind of peak pickup and drop off. It seems as long as it can be managed, but reviewing details on how is that managed, given that there's some neighbors to take into consideration. So the applicants also did supply some additional information kind of after seeing the staff's completeness review, and then the review that went to the Planning Commission. So they did add a little bit more on some of the information. So there is some existing, some of the existing, or the questions were about that there's the shared parking, snow storage is already managed in a way, but just to identify it on a site plan. How will just loading happen, just to designate a spot for deliveries as they happen. And then there is a shared dumpster on the site. When I actually did the site visit, there was one dumpster. When I talked to the folks in the other office, they indicated that it was specifically for that one currently. But however, there are also bins on both buildings. It is not required to have a dumpster. You can just do it with street side bins. But if any new dumpsters would be proposed, to put them in an enclosure. That's kind of been consistent with how we've done other site plan reviews. But if it can be handled through bins, that's certainly fine. And then just a comment on the non-motorized, the bike parking. So they did supply some of that additional information, but the applicants, as they indicated earlier, are here as well if planning commissioners have questions.
Any questions for staff? Yeah, go, Molly.
Yeah, I got a question. Can we get a better picture than this of how this piece of property fits within everything that's around it?
Yeah, I did actually receive at least those JPEGs earlier. I forgot to print them out. You guys did send that earlier today. That did help kind of clarify things.
Or just additional photo?
It was just that photo, just tried to get a higher resolution of it. But I think one of our questions is to get a kind of clear site plan of things on
Molly,
it.
I think to your point, I mean, I
Maybe a drawing of
Site
what's
plan.
there
Yeah.
and what's going to be there.
this is somewhat similar to the office building that Munson converted for over on South, one of the Royal Drives. And did we not receive a site plan for that as well?
For Munson at on the Royal Drive?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks.
Was that, what year was that?
it might have predated you. Hi, thank you.
I kind of remember. It may have been wrapping up as I was starting,
Okay.
if I recall correctly. Yeah, because there is a child care center right over there on Royal Drive.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
More questions for Steve, guys, or do we want to hear from the applicant? What? Go ahead, folks.
I have
Na-
a
if you could-
map that maybe we could project. It's really not much better working with a satellite map.
You gotta
Sure.
talking to the mic. Sorry.
Yeah, if you would. And if you would both state your names and addresses.
Hi, we are JK Futures, Jeff and Kim. Jeff and Kim Denton, and we're from Clare, Michigan, but we'd like to spend a lot more time in Traverse City. We have grown children here and hopefully future grandchildren, and look forward to everything we love about Traverse City being more immersed in the community. And we'd like to bring a preschool. It started with conversation with our own kids about the deficit here, the daycare drought, it's called, and we came upon an opportunity and decided to step out of retirement because it's kind of boring. I just needed a little bit more to do, and so here we are today.
Yeah, preschool is definitely not boring. That's a good picture. That's one of the best. So that's,
This is the township's aerial from Pictometry or Eagle View. The township contracts to get some aerial imagery of the whole
And
community.
I also have that map here with all of our parking spots counted out, the location of the dumpster, the push of the snow, trying to figure out where to locate the bikes. Today, I noticed where all of the 6 lights are located on the property, and that's actually easier to see right there. And then we did work out our traffic pattern, which is what I gave to you. And as we were working through that, we discovered that we can work 15 vehicles through that lot without interfering with the other office building, without going into their parking area. And we would come, you were there, Steve, so really close to that tree. And if our staff are parked there where your arrow is, up at the top, staff parked there, and then people can still curl around. In spot number 10 that I was going to designate for deliveries could be a no parking spot because the front end could clip that corner, and it gives a perfect U to travel the children in, because nobody will get to park in front of the building during pickup and drop off, because the children will be in the cars, in the 5 cars that can be located right in front of the building, and that's based on 2 parking spots per car. But they don't pull into the spot. They are perpendicular to it. And then there are zones where we receive the kids with a teacher, 2 teachers per class. We only have 5 classrooms, so 5 teachers out there accepting the students from the car, even with umbrellas. And we saw this in action in a campus in Tennessee. And so they're received from the car, and then they go into the building where the second classroom teacher is already stationed. So the child will have 1 teacher at the sidewalk, the second teacher would be in the classroom, and then it's reverse on the way out. So it's an important system. It's worth asking the questions, because that will be our number 1 priority, is to maintain safety for the kids. Safe travel route for the parents in their cars, and it's a momentary traffic jam, if I even want to say that.
Therein lies the rub. And I will honestly say I'm extremely familiar. I have a senior in high school right now and a college sophomore, but going to college sophomore is about to be 20. But we spent over 8 years picking up and dropping off at the Children's House, and then another 6 years picking up and dropping off at the old location for Glenn Loomis. I have so I want to just first say I'm very appreciative of your desire to bring this service into what I'm very familiar with being a childcare desert. I think those were the words you used. I like them. I can't imagine having a newborn or a 5-year-old, which I had today. I hear constantly the lack of availability of childcare and the complex situations that folks have. So I'm very supportive of what you're trying to bring us, and very supportive. I think it's a very practical application within the PUD and the revision. But what I think is very much lacking is, and this is a great illustration of it. I'm seeing the first session would have 50 to 80 students. So
That's what we're hoping for.
Sure.
Right.
But you're hoping for.
We're certainly not going to start there.
Sure.
And systems will be improved we can't increase the space, the parking lot space, but we can improve systems.
Absolutely.
All the time. It's about flexibility.
And absolutely, and we understand that completely, but our concern is in making sure that you have a site plan that accommodates 50 to 80 vehicles within the space of approximately 20 minutes to a half an hour, probably, dropping off as many children. Maybe you got some doubles up where people,
right.
Multiple kids are getting 3 kids off of 1 car, whatever. But I'm very accustomed to long lines of vehicles, and just getting everybody to pull in, and I'm a little fuzzy on the verbal explanation. I couldn't tell. We don't need to go into it, but I couldn't tell for certain whether people are going to pull in and park perpendicular and then back out and leave, or if the intent is for them to loop around inside the parking lot.
Staying perpendicular so they don't pull into a parking spot. They're staying perpendicular to those spots right in front of the school.
So
They're never pulling into a parking spot.
They're not pulling into
Yeah.
a parking spot.
See, I'm really
If they do, there are 6 parking spots. If a parent needs to come in and see, a teacher,
Sure.
there are 6 spots, 1, 2, 3,
So,
4,
but
6
the
spots
other-
right across.
Let me just stop you. This is very nice, but it doesn't meet the standard for this commission to review a plan, and it doesn't demonstrate how 2 rows of vehicles are gonna pull into this lot and do a U-E inside this little parking lot, and you got 1 row of vehicles coming in, 1 row of vehicles leaving, doing your pickup and drop off. I mean, it sounds practical, it looks practical, but what this commission is used to seeing is something more akin to an engineered site plan that lays this out, shows turning movements of how all those vehicles are gonna, in a line, are gonna kind of turn that circle. I'm very skeptical, and I need to see it on a more detailed plan. And this same thing applies to all the other things that Steve has pointed out with regard to site. You have a very thorough, very detailed architectural plan for how you're going to serve the children and meet all the code requirements for a daycare facility, which is great. But now you need to demonstrate that you can meet all of our code requirements. And so that really is going to take a more detailed plan, and you're probably going to need a consultant to help you prepare that. And I apologize for the level of detail and the investment that's going to be necessary, but we need to be certain that you clearly have the amount of parking that's necessary for your development. The trash is provided for, the bike loops, the snow storage, and if you look back at many of the applications that we have on the record of past projects that have been submitted, this certainly meets. Your application certainly meets the bar of having to have that designed site plan, whether a planner helps you with it, or an engineer, or a landscape architect. We just need to see something more detailed that's going to help answer your questions, Molly, I'm sure, and be responsive to Steve's concerns in the comments.
Can I ask, though, that if we invest in that, do you think it is feasible? I mean, I want to do it. I will spend the money, but do you, in your professional opinion, think that I'm ever going to get there? Or are you seeing that it may not be practical at all?
Can I add to
go ahead.
this? We're leasing. We don't control this site at all.
Right.
So in order for us to do what you're describing as a site plan, that would be beyond the scope of the lease that we have from the building. The owner of those 2 buildings is the same owner. So it's a shared parking. We don't have control of any of the site per se. The reason you saw a detailed plan of the building is because that's what we have control over. And that's where our Ivy Brook, who is the franchise, there's 45 to 50 of these around the country right now. First one in Ann Arbor in Michigan. This was going to be the second one. They're giving us consultation around how to bring students in. They've done it in downtown Charlotte, downtown Nashville, suburban areas, strip malls. The owners of Ivy Brook were here this summer. They looked at this, the original, not owners, but the founders. They looked at this and said, beautiful, perfect, we can make this work. So I'm just suggesting that there's a lot more here that we bring and we have to offer and can be managed than a site plan that we don't actually control.
Well, let me ask you this, though. You have the control over you're adding site improvements in the form of an outdoor playground, right?
At a very rudimentary level.
On the end of the building, very,
Yeah.
whatever the square footage is, so it's like.
Yeah, the difficulty, I guess, really is that regardless of what your ownership interest is in the property, we still have an obligation to review a site plan for what you're proposing to do. For example, and I want to be respectful of the expertise that Ivy Brook brings, but not 2 years ago, we had experts from Chick-fil-A, y'all remember? Who insisted that they were going to be all ready and prepared to manage the lineup of traffic, to hand out sandwiches. And we ended up with a little bit of egg on our faces because they actually had to hire a private police force during the first few weeks of their opening up because they were not prepared. And we had long lines of traffic on US 31 queued up because everybody wanted to be the first to get a Chick-fil-A sandwich. So my concern is, what do we do if we rely on Ivy Brook and your assurances, and we end up with a line of cars out on Park Drive?
The beauty of this location too, though, is that there are two entrances. So you see the one on this map, but then just a smidge up there, there's another entrance.
So we need to see where 80 cars are going to queue up to drop off kids. Or if it's not 80 cars, is it 60? What is your expected flow of traffic into this parking lot, which arguably is a parking lot designed for office workers? And again, I think maybe we can, oftentimes we'll nod some heads as far as how supportive this group is to the actual use. And I mean, I don't know what you folks are thinking, but I think they're asking for some assurances that we're, go ahead, Kara.
I just want to add a little bit of perspective. As someone who's been through car line with kids in 2 states, when I moved here, I thought, man, it is markedly inefficient here compared to what I've seen before. So I believe, based on personal experience, there's a possibility it's managed better elsewhere to kind of merge what you're saying and the concerns that you have with the expertise that you've got potentially available. One suggestion would be to find the most analog site to what this is. And if Ivy Brook's willing to video it, do car counts, do some measurements of lots that are the most similar to this, that would give me some additional comfort, because I know it can be done better than some of the car lines that Chris and I have sat through here.
And, I think parents are trainable. I feel like they want their kids to be safe too. None of us want to deal with crazy traffic. So once we develop a system, you will work with us. You wanted to do it the right way to make it better. And maybe you were the mom in the car line recreating it, which is what I would have been doing. And so I put myself in that place when I was driving my car in loops around the parking lot today. So I needed to be comfortable with it too, just like you, yeah.
Just a quick question. Is 84 the magic number, or can that be to make it financially feasible for you? Is that something that can be, yeah, would of course.
We cannot accommodate more than 84 based on student ratios.
If the traffic flow is not conducive to that, is less number allowed? If 64 students.
Oh, limiting the number of students we bring into the
That's right.
facility? I don't know if Jeff's on the numbers.
It's hard to say whether that would or not based on the overall tuition. It's a tuition-based program, right? So it would severely limit it. It's not, we're not doing this to get rich.
But this was done as a theoretical maximum, essentially.
But that's based on state regulations of
State regulations.
Student
per
quotas,
square foot.
right.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the basis
why
of that number.
That's why that number is
Okay.
is in there that way.
And our own ratios. We are actually operating at a smaller level than the state will require because of the Great Start program, the readiness program right now. The state has redesigned its entire notebook, which is in a binder in my bag, because they want more kids in the school. So now they're letting ratios be 34 in a classroom, and fewer teachers, more kids. It's just, we're not subscribing to that. We're going to stick with a 10-to-1, 20 kids in the 4s and 5s, 16 in the 3s, and older 2s, and then the younger 2s are at 12. So,
Molly?
I understand the concept, appreciate it, think it's great. If you can do it, any extra education, early childhood, right on board. My question is similar to yours. Forest Ridge is, I think, private for the people that live in those apartments and things that are there, so it's their road. And on this, it's kind of looking like you're gonna back up some of your people onto that, or come in that way. It's not a county
I thought if they
road.
were coming from the north, they would enter
Yeah.
through, actually MapQuest takes you through that, your maps, and then others would come through the lower entrance.
We wouldn't necessarily be enticing them to come through there, but we're not sure how
I know, but you may or may not be able to do that. If it's an association, and I don't know that, Steve, that's a question for you.
Yeah, is that what you were referring to when you said there were two entrances? You were referring to down here and then up here?
Yeah, and when we enter 1764 into our maps, it has taken us to that other entrance, not even the one that's closest to the building.
But
Right.
Google doesn't know,
I know.
Right.
so.
Yeah.
So that parcel itself only fronts on Forest Ridge. So to get to it from Park Drive, you have to get on Forest Ridge somewhere. So
Yeah, but not 60 cars.
that's the.
I mean, that's where the residents that are in those apartment buildings are gonna go out of their minds.
Is it indicated as a private drive?
We could check here.
You know, we have special regulations for drive-throughs.
Looks like it's a private drive. Yeah.
And I mean drive-throughs like a bank drive-through, a restaurant drive-through. We don't have any special regulations for a pickup drop-off for kids that I'm aware of,
As
right?
far as I know, I don't think we do. Yeah.
But this is a PUD, and we need to, it's our opportunity to review something. And, you know, I think all the questions that we have demonstrate that we need something with greater amount of detail in order to review it. So, you know, and I would also add, the materials you just submitted, you know, you cited that, and I'm really excited about what you're bringing. I think there's just a little bit of disconnect between the level of detail that's necessary for a site plan. You have you're very understanding of the level of detail and the codes and the standards and the requirements for the building itself. And I take it that you haven't sat down yourselves and drawn those figures up. You've gotten the assistance from Ivy Brook to do that. All I'm saying is that, you know, I appreciate the concept that you've presented to us, but you need not necessarily the same level of detail, but either Ivy Brook or someone has to provide a greater amount of detail. Otherwise, we don't have any assurances that we're not going to have an unreasonable amount of cars lined up on Forest Ridge, or for that matter, Park Road is a county road, correct?
That, I believe is County Road.
Yeah.
So, or I mean, we would be remiss in approving this project if we had any suspicion, and I don't have any assurances that parked cars won't queue out onto Park Drive. And so we can't approve this project without greater assurances that that's not going to happen. So, and I would add too, I just kind of skimmed through your latest submittal, and I think when it referred to here it is. So some of these things are like the codes that you've already had to comply to with students and what goes on inside the building, fire protection and everything. For example, you know, we have a bicycle requirement. It's in our code. It's required. So you have to have bicycle parking spaces. It's not a matter of we'll decide whether our employees or anybody wants to use them or not. It's literally in the code. In the same way that you can't decide whether a state mandated code requirement for the interior of the building is required, or whether you'd prefer to do it or not, it's in our code, you have to do it. You have to provide 2 bike racks. If the relationship or the lease requirements of this development won't allow you to put 2 bike racks on the site, I mean, first of all, send your landlord in, because that, I don't think we would find that to be acceptable. I haven't found that to be acceptable in any sort of community, but.
Any
you know,
site improvements will be pushed back on us. So-
Sure, but they can't stop.
Why
you from
isn't
putting
there
in-
one there right now? We have a parking lot that's there. If that was an office building, they could lease it to anybody, and they wouldn't have to put in a bike rack. So why would we have to put in a bike rack when you're not gonna bring your kids to school on a
You have
bike?
to make physical modifications to building in order to accommodate the children inside of it?
Changing the configuration of the rooms, of course, yeah.
Fire protection, doors,
Yes, yes.
all those other things, it's the same. So you're changing the building because you're doing a different use than an office space. You're changing the parking lot and the use. If somebody were to come in and build if there was no office building there today, it's grandfathered in, is what it comes down to. We didn't have a bike loop requirement, how many years ago?
New ordinance was
35 years
2015.
ago when we didn't have a bike loop requirement.
15.
You guys are doing a new kind of development, and so it puts you, we have other projects that come in and they have to eliminate driveways, add sidewalk. We're not holding you to any higher standard than anybody else for any kind of similar revised application. I understand you need to make an investment. I feel very confident that if you can present this application and demonstrate that a site plan will accommodate the use, I think one of the most critical issues being, some of these issues that Steve's raised are just clarifications regarding the dumpster, providing a couple of bicycle loops. Do you need a loading space, and where is it? These are all pretty easily addressable things. I think the most difficult and complicated thing for you to assess is this, the pickup drop-off line and how that's going to work and how it's going to impact the adjacent roadways. And therefore, again, I'm supportive of what you're doing. If you can show us that all these things are going to work, I'm confident that the use change to allow your use in the PUD, I, as one individual on this planning commission, would be supportive of that use. For me, it's just a matter of showing that you can check all the boxes, meet all the code requirements as you have with the building itself in regards to the site plan, and I would be very supportive of what you're trying to do.
Oh, okay. Do we have any tables that will help these folks figure out, if you have 60 students, how much queuing you need to have, how much queuing space you need to have?
I think, is that getting kind of dissimilar what you were just asking, Chris? Like, there's not something similar to like our...
There's nothing in our zoning ordinance.
Nothing in our zoning, but are there tables or?
As far as I know, I don't know of anything.
I mean-
Since it's a little bit different type of, where it's one peak at a time, and it's a little different than like the ordering that you would do at a fast food
I don't
restaurant.
know if the ITC, the traffic manual that determines the number of trips. Obviously, your trips are pretty specific. You have a certain number of employees and a certain number of students. But there are engineers and manuals that would, and they would use manuals that would determine the traffic that would be generated.
Could each existing Ivy Brook around the country has a plan that they're using. So if we supplied you however many you want, I don't know, a dozen, 2 dozen of.
It just doesn't work that way. We don't get a standard plan for every McDonald's in the country. And then we look at it and say, oh, you've done this 50 other places. You have to do a plan for this location for Ivy Brook.
But they
Go ahead,
need,
Molly.
they may be able to tell them queuing distance. You know
Sure.
what queuing distance is, how many cars are stacked up here? If you've got 60 of them and they're gonna drop off kids within 20 minutes, it seems like there'd be some kind of a calculation
Right.
that'll give you a
And I came up
queuing.
with 15 cars that could be accommodated in the lot, and if we have 60, that's 4 sets, 4 rounds.
Okay, but that doesn't,
And I know, I don't know how to say it better, but I guess we need
You need
to
a
find somebody who
consultant.
can.
Yeah.
it's just you're coming out on a private road, which, Forest Ridge, I don't know what the rules are for Forest Ridge. I think that they can probably use it for the office buildings, because they do. That's how you get on
That's the
Park
only
Drive.
entrance, yeah, there's a big sign there that tells the,
I'm pretty familiar with it,
Yeah.
so, that's the only entrance there, but you may not be able to go north, and you may need to get permission from the Forest Ridge folks to have that much traffic on their road. And so, you got some questions, I think, to answer. And for me, it's really that queuing. Park Drive is a busy road. It's what comes out of Traverse City and goes to Airport Road and south. So. you can't
We
be
actually
backed up
selected
on
that location because of its peacefulness, so,
I know, that
yeah.
off the road, it's very peaceful.
yeah.
And it's great, but you've got senior citizen housing, you've got other housing around there, gonna have a new housing right in front of it, all of that. is really nice. But if you can't accommodate those cars, and that's the question you're gonna have to answer is, can you?
I also have a different concern too, or
Okay, that too.
Hey, Joe?
the, how often are you having, like Christmas time, having a party or orientation, anything like that, where you're gonna stack everybody, and where are you gonna put them?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So
Yeah.
I guess you should bring that up, or give us some more information on that also.
I think this brings up a good point that I think could be addressed in a couple different ways, but to just add a couple thoughts to it. So the parcel in the application is this one, where the building actually is. And the parcel that has Forest Ridge Drive, both of those entrances, is this. It's owned by this Lake Point Acquisition Group. In some form or another, having some discussions with that property owner would seem to be prudent. I don't know if you can connect with your property owner to make that connection. Because even though it's not proposed on their parcel, they would be affected. And it seems that no matter how it is, them being aware would be helpful. And they may actually be supportive if they were made aware, if they aren't currently aware. And like, we need this to make this work. I would imagine if there isn't already, and if there isn't, there should be, but some kind of easement agreement, given that this parcel is landlocked to that road, that they have access to it, if that could be part of either an addendum to that agreement or some kind of.
I would expect you could queue a great many vehicles on Forest Ridge Drive if you were actually
If they
receiving
said
children.
yes.
Yeah.
If they said yes, and you were receiving children on Forest Ridge Drive and walking them through that little bit of vegetation.
Right.
Again, there's a site improvement that might be necessary for a path or a sidewalk or something. But, you know, that, it strikes me as that queue would be very practical.
It does
And-
not say private drive, the northern one. It does not say
The
private
other
drive.
one did not. Okay.
But I understand it would be appropriate to be good neighbors, 100%.
It's not a county road.
I'm seeing private on here. This
Yeah,
is the
it's not
county's
county,
data
so-
layer.
I mean, the county doesn't plow it. It's not.
Right, I mean, it's not prohibiting people from
Oh, not like
entering
a-
that
Oh,
unless they
yeah.
are
Not gated.
Yeah.
a resident.
Yeah, not like a gated private
Not
road.
gated.
Yeah.
Speaking of prohibiting, it
Yeah.
did occur to me too, as we're looking at all this, and as Joe spoke, with the current route, the drop-off that you've shown, during the periods of that drop-off operation, your neighboring office building would be effectively prohibited from, or blocked from getting in and out of the office space. You may also have some plans or concerns with that drop-off space in this parking lot. It strikes me as maybe emergency access during that operation might be an issue. I don't know if, again, this is kind of outside of the realm of what we usually deal with, but, you know, for a 20-minute, half-an-hour period, the way this is proposed, you have both lanes in and out of the parking lot would be full of vehicles. So like an ambulance couldn't get to this office space or to your building for that matter.
It would be a good question for Metro Fire, which would have to review the building anyway. So we can ask them about the site plan as well.
So again,
Work
I'm,
with these folks and help them, tell them what they need to do as far as getting access on Forest and who they need to talk to, fire department and on down the line.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can help point you in the right direction to get those details in place. Yeah, and I think getting someone. Who were the folks that prepared all the architectural plans? They looked like they were out of.
SFE out of Detroit.
Okay. Okay. Would they be available? I mean, as staff, we can't really recommend consultants, but if they would.
Generally, they don't manage our, like our outdoor play area, but
Right.
Josh did say when he was checking in with us today that, you know,
Yeah.
if you need any help with the site plan, to get in touch.
Yeah, okay.
So
So if you
we
have
have-
someone
we have a
available that can help.
resource,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And, you know, just to give you some feedback, I mean, from the standpoint, are you all comfortable giving a head nod if you, I mean, in terms of the use approval, if they can demonstrate that all of our concerns and requirements can be satisfied? Are we interested in the,
Like daycare.
Yeah, I think it's needed.
Not
Parking
at
or the
school,
cars.
Early school.
Parking and the traffic is a concern, but it is a needed, it's needed.
does that give you folks some confidence that, you know, your investment will be rewarded?
Sure, we hope, we sure hope so.
Sorry.
Because
It will be rewarded in our hearts.
I would like to have a student. I would
Yeah.
like to start talking about curriculum,
There
but
you go.
we'll get there.
That's okay. Yeah.
So, thank you for your time.
So do we
Thank
need a
you.
motion to table it or anything?
It's there.
Yeah, we would need a motion. There's
There's a
a motion
motion.
here,
Aren't
if somebody would
we
like to
just
make it.
introducing, just for
It being a minor amendment, there's no public hearing specifically. So it would just be to table it.
okay.
Mhm.
I'll make a motion that we table, so what do you want to hear that?
It's there.
Ivy
the table
Brook
one is
Academy.
there?
It's listed.
Well, that was the one, that's not a table motion.
It is a
It is.
table motion.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, so yeah. Here we go.
Right there. Read all of it, too.
You can go with 1 through 7 as listed in
Okay,
the.
so I'll make the motion that application PUD 1987-02N submitted by J.K. Futures LLC, DBA Ivy Brook Academy, Traverse City, for a minor amendment to the Lake Point Planned Unit Development for a child care center at parcel 05-014-109-06 at 1764 Forest Ridge Drive be tabled to address the following 1 through 7 on PD report
2025-96.
96.
Or,
All right, we have a motion from Robertson, support by Fudge. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same. Motion passes.
We'll follow up.
Thank you.
Yes,
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, and we move now to item C, new business, PD 2025-97, Macy's redevelopment, CP Planned Shopping Center sign review.
All right. Hold on, I gotta get to that section of the. Here we go. All right. So this is started as a sign permit application submitted to the zoning administrator. There is a provision in the ordinance that the zoning administrator can refer a sign permit application to the planning commission, which is done so on this one. I think the last time that a type of deferral happened was when Wendy's proposed a independent sign over at the Cherryland Center. So kind of similar, we're in a planned shopping center. What is proposed, so you recently reviewed the split of the former Macy's into the 4 spaces. And what they are proposing is to have a pylon sign with the space for 4 tenant spaces signs. And they proposed it sort of right in the middle of their site along South Airport Road, kind of right here. So there were some concerns, and there's some background here. So the section in question of the sign portion of the ordinance, commercial uses in the CP district are allowed the following signs. There's a section on the wall signs and then freestanding signs. Freestanding signs is 1 freestanding monument sign located at each roadway entrance to the development, maximum of 40 square feet per sign, maximum of 2 signs per roadway frontage. And for developments which include more than 10,000 square feet of retail, one freestanding sign along each roadway frontage is allowed in place of another, basically to upsize it according to the following. And in this case, since it's a mall, it has more than 50,000 square feet, that can be a maximum of 100. So basically, if you've got the two roadway frontages, 31 and South Airport, you can have two on each. One can be up to 100, the other can be 40. And there's already the two existing that are, I believe, approximately 100 square feet, which used to say Grand Traverse Mall at the top. Now it has all the tenant spaces up there on both sides. And then there are, these are located here and here. And then there are some like lower monument signs here, here, and here, which either say Grand Traverse Mall or just entrance. So staff did comment that based on this current inventory of the signs, they're already maxed out and technically ahead of or beyond what would be allowed based on the maximum of 2 signs per roadway frontage, because even though there's a large curve in South Airport, technically that is one road and they have 3 signs along it. Staff at least did note that there are some changes that would allow for a freestanding monument sign. It's also put into a draft motion, although it should be noted this is not actually what was applied for. Planning Commission could also be justified to not speculate beyond what was actually applied for in their application. But at least some things to consider as to why it's not most likely not permitted in its current application form. For one, it does say signs at a roadway entrance, so where the actual driveway entrance is. So they proposed their sign here. It's about halfway between the 2 nearest entrances. And notably, the Macy's site actually does own part of the entrance on that part of South Airport Road. So relocating a sign there, making it into a monument sign, because the way the wording of that section says is one freestanding monument sign located at each roadway entrance. And then to actually get the inventory to allow that, the 2 existing monument signs at both of those mall entrances on South Airport Road, they basically function as directional signs, just indicating where the entrance is. Planning Commission also has a provision in the ordinance to allow for directional signs up to 6 square feet. These would obviously have to be downsized from their current, but it would be a way to allow for a more functional monument sign if chosen. Again, there is a way to readjust the sign inventory, but as noted, that's not what is applied for in this application. And I'm not sure if there's an applicant here for this one.
Wagging his head.
This is the only one I did
guy
not
don't
know.
recognize is saying he's not here with them,
Yeah.
so. thank you.
I'm guessing you're here for the next agenda item. Okay. You're the only person I didn't recognize. Sorry, I looked
So-
right at you when I did that, but yeah.
Steve, I mean, I took a look at this one. I don't know what everybody
Yeah.
else is thinking. But it seems like the number of comments that you have
Yeah.
on the current plan, in my opinion,
Yep.
warrant, not that we approve it conditionally, but that we just make a recommendation that the plan be changed to be consistent with staff's interpretation of the ordinance, and that a revised plan be brought forth to us to review that's consistent with your expectations. If
Okay.
it was just one little conditional change or two, it's a lot of change from what's shown on the plan that, what's everybody else's thoughts?
Easy way to do it.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Sounded like you made a motion there almost.
I can't though.
I can't repeat what all you just said.
So would you
Let's see.
motion to, or would you think to,
Be tabled,
you were going to table it? Okay.
pending further revision
By staff.
by the applicant, but further revision as recommended by items 1 through 3.
By the staff to comply with our current.
Yeah, that's better. Let's not do that by staff.
Should I throw it up on here?
Motion that application for a sign permit submitted by Daniel Stern for redevelopment of an anchor store at parcel da-da-da-da-da be tabled, subject to further revision
To comply.
With staff recommendations. Are you making that motion, Molly?
Sure.
Thank you. Did you get the motion, Steve?
So, okay, motion that application for a sign permit submitted by Daniel Stern for redevelopment of an anchor store at parcel 05-021-054-00 be tabled, subject to further revision to comply with, is it really staff recommendation or to comply with zoning ordinance requirements?
That's what I
Molly, would you,
Yeah.
zoning ordinance requirements?
Yeah, I think you're right on the zoning, to comply with the zoning ordinances.
Perfect.
Do we need to, I mean, we kind of want it run by staff to make sure that before we start looking to approve something, that it's kind of what fits in our,
I think if it is tabled, it would need to come back to be on tables. I think it's not just something we could review, we would bring it.
Oh, yeah, you would have to bring it back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
okay. Then
Support.
you have enough?
Yeah, would you actually put the 3 things as part of the motion, or?
There
Yeah,
may be other things. when
Right.
we actually start.
just say it as zoning ordinance requirements and be done, okay.
Everybody's nodding their heads.
Okay.
Motion by Agostinelli, support by Klein.
Richards.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, I said. And any opposed, same.
Okay.
Motion passes.
So is motion, who were the motion and second, by the way?
Agostinelli and supported by Klein.
No.
Oh, sorry, Robertson.
Yeah.
My bad. All right. That gets us through item C, and now we are on to item D, PD 2025-98334, Gas Road Food Trucks, conceptual review.
All right. So this is 3344 Cast Road. This is, this site is, there used to be a car wash on the site. It was most recently redeveloped into, there's a couple different businesses in here, a coffee shop, brewery, I believe just recently opened. And the applicant, the owner and the applicant wanted to propose doing a food truck as a use attached to the building, and provided some kind of rationale, even drafted some potential ordinance language, kind of to make a pitch as an idea, and the applicant's here, now that I know who you are, sorry, to expound on that. Staff just had a couple comments on that. If Planning Commission were supportive, there would have to be some kind of ordinance, potentially both police power and zoning ordinance amendment, but it could be a way to manage both any operational concerns or kind of their effects and placement of how they're used, particularly if they're only accessory to an established business. But that could be a way to manage it. There could be an approved dedicated location or space to kind of manage the placement of them. Also, if they're accessory to an established business. And I think the applicant put some information on a lot of food truck businesses. I know Plan Commission has asked about kind of their effects on brick and mortar, so I believe they commented on that as well. So otherwise, the applicant is here to kind of make that pitch and
Sure.
go through the
Good
things
evening, I'm
they put
Brian
there?
Roth. I own the new build there at 3344 Cass and the building just south, 3300. So I prepared for you a couple different things, the benefits of food trucks, a couple pages, just bullet points. And I took the liberty to draft an ordinance from Traverse City's ordinance and modify it to some of the things I've talked, that I've heard from folks here, just as an example. So since this is an idea, I can answer questions, I can pitch why I need it or want it at my location. We've got 2 locations built in for it at this time. You can see the last page of the packet that I've provided shows the fixed location of 2 potential food trucks in the green box that are curbed, have power, water, and can have sewer. So we can talk about, since this is a planning committee, shoot me some questions, or we can talk about my locations.
Sure, I got a question.
Go ahead, Molly.
So you're kind of modeling after Little Fleet, is that your,
Yeah, it's Little
Can
Fleet,
have
Little Farm
fires.
Club, Little Fleet, yeah, I'm not sure if it's a model, it's a bit different, but, food trucks provide, at least to my business, it provides, an extra experience. You can have some variety of foods, a little revenue, for the building owner, that's me. Provides some relief for the kitchen. It's a rather small kitchen I've built in there, so we've got a large beer garden, or coffee garden, beer garden, so it provides support for the small kitchen that's in place, that's in-house. So, but yeah, I would say it's similar to Little Fleet in a way. Yeah. I do have a question. What is the police order that you refer to?
Police power?
Power.
Anything that's like not a zoning ordinance, we call like the police power ordinance, would be something that manages more, like, that would be like for licensing them. That would be
Okay.
separate from a zoning ordinance.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so, that's the first page, if you go back to in my opinion, the page, what do we got here? Page 1 of my benefits of food trucks. I think, in my opinion, I made some notes at the bottom of each of those that you can see where I've had some experience with this. I just think that it's allowing food trucks in Garfield Township, it helps the residents and the businesses, people who work in Garfield Township, to cut down their time to go get something to eat, and it increases their choices to go get something to eat. As we probably have all experienced it. Traffic is getting bad in Traverse City. So if you've got to run especially in the area that I'm in, there's a couple chain restaurants in the area, but to get around Traverse City to go get a bite to eat during an hour lunch, I think food trucks would help with that quite a bit, and be a time-saving thing for residents and people who work in Garfield Township, and just make things better for people who live here and work here.
so we don't currently allow food trucks. We would have to, what would we need to do?
It would be, like we said, most likely it would be a combination of something in the zoning ordinance to figure out where they would go and how they would be allowed. Like, for example, if they were going to be like only something accessory to an established business use. So you couldn't just have a food truck on its own, like on a vacant parcel. But if there's like you've got a business and you've got a spot for one and it's going to be part of the overall operation, if that's the way you want to do it. So something in this zoning ordinance to figure out where they'd be allowed and how they'd be allowed, and then potentially doing like a licensing of them would actually do more of the like licensing on the business side. So like they can swap out where they are, and because they can move around.
So you'd have a license to host a food truck, basically.
Yeah, or the business would have a license to do it, and then the zoning would say, here are the spots where they are, or where they can go. But they, knowing that they're mobile, they can swap around at sort of a given time where they are.
So, I guess to maybe cut to the chase, I mean, we're all familiar with food trucks. Does anybody have any questions about food trucks in Northwest Michigan, Traverse City area?
I just want to make a comment. I think it's a really creative and exciting idea. I think it's something that every time we've gone to someplace like Little Fleet or similar, number one, it's great for families with picky eaters. There's always kind of a sense of community. There's something special about gathering in some of the food truck locations, and I appreciate the initiative in taking a stab at some things to start us off on. What I would want to add is that we potentially not limit it when we consider where is a good fit, perhaps a public park in Garfield Township or something like that. So thinking beyond just businesses, because this is
Yeah.
something we've run into at Medalley Park specifically.
Okay.
I hadn't thought of that.
What I wrote into based on some comments from some of the people here that I've talked to, what I wrote in that example would be, just parking would be a concern to me. You know, we've got ample parking, you know, I built it. We've got double what we were required to. You know, that's something I would consider. And, you know, we've got the space, at least the sitting areas to support at least probably do a lot more food trucks. So, you know, parking was a thing that I considered, and again, tied to a business. Those two food trucks support the brewery and, just lesser extent, the coffee shop, and help support the small restaurant that's in there.
It strikes me that, you know, the plan you provided, and your specific use is very practical, very much to Kara's comments. I'm in complete agreement. In a larger sense, like you just brought up parks as an opportunity for food trucks, it begs the question then, you know, the other aspects of how we consider, I mean, we could write something very specific that would be a police power that would be just for your use, or extremely similar uses. But I think you bring up a good point, that it's worth exploration by staff to look at a more expansive case for food trucks. Do others agree?
Yep,
Well, if we're going to change
gonna do it,
and
yep.
allow food trucks, we haven't had any discussion about that. So I don't, you know, when everybody's here, might be good to have some discussion about whether, I mean, why don't we have food trucks now? You know, I'm sure was some opposition to that at some point in time. What is that? What was the problem then?
And I know we've discussed it a couple times before.
But it never got anywhere.
Right. I think it was either just opposition or not a priority at the time. And I think there were some specific concerns. Some of it were, I think, the concerns that it might have negative impacts on brick and mortar restaurants or brick and mortar businesses. I don't know if you've encountered that at all.
I haven't.
Okay. Because like I've seen like some cases where some businesses have been food trucks and then later opened a brick and mortar restaurant. Like
Well,
there's
that's
some
part of
from
the process. That's part of the
Yeah.
it's a low barrier of entry, a food truck.
Yeah.
And we've got a culinary school here. We've got a very it's a low barrier. They do that, and then they graduate to bricks and mortar. And bricks and mortar have, you know, I've heard the argument a little bit, but bricks and mortar has a little advantage. They can do a lot more volume. You know, and there's some disadvantages. You know, usually food trucks are around during the summer, but it's busy during the summer, so there's a good fit there. But, you know, your neighbor, Traverse City, has a lot of food trucks, so I don't think there's any problem there. I don't see bricks and mortar going out of business left and right.
Yeah.
in terms of food.
There
Right.
really is no, I mean, in your area specifically, there aren't a lot of places to eat
There's not.
there
So,
for NMC's campus
Mm-hmm.
or Sara Lee's
yes,
people.
500 employees at Sara
or
Lee. You've got all up and down. You've got workers.
Downcast
You've got
Road.
tent space. No, I forget the name.
But it likely would not be just your location. Terra Firma may want to start doing that, you know,
Yeah.
where, that's why the
I-
board needs to kind of talk about.
You know, I did it for me because that's what
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
speak to. I'm for food trucks in every township in America. So,
Every corner you
yeah.
can put them on.
and you know, interesting. I came up with this stat because I thought it might come up, and I'll just, probably don't have to talk about it. But Austin, Texas, is one of the capitals of food trucks. I don't know if you've ever been there, but there's a lot of food truck places that kind of are like Little Fleet, but they're everywhere. But Austin, Texas has 3 Applebee's, 5 Olive Gardens, 5 Buffalo Wild Wings, 16 Chick-fil-A's, and 15 Whataburgers. And that's one of
It's a
the.
Whataburger.
It's a
It's a special kind of burger.
it's a Western Southern burger joint.
Okay.
All right, this is a McDonald's type.
Yeah.
So how do we feel about directing staff to further explore this and maybe as soon as our next meeting, bring back some preliminary thoughts on how we might approach? I mean, I understand your suggestion is, I mean, this is a conceptual review, no formal action, but we could give you direction
Yeah.
to explore what sort of action we could take. And it seems like your effort might trigger, we can't really be responsive to your specific request without looking more in-depth at the rest of the township and
Understood.
food trucks. And
Yeah.
I'm sensing enthusiasm from the commission to have staff take the next step to explore it, right?
Explore it, but
Yeah.
yeah. let's-
And I wrote it for you. The
Yeah,
ordinance.
well,
You said you based it off of City of Traverse City?
Yes, it's
Okay.
just, there's edited for Garfield Township
yeah,
and,
okay.
a few things here and there that,
Yeah.
that, I
Yeah.
thought might be good advice, but
And we can give them a call too. We know their planning staff, so I can talk to Sean and see what their experience has been, and but yeah, it seems like something that's worthy of exploring the next step and seeing how we can make it work.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for your time.
okay, thank you for hearing.
I think it's worth noting that we're just starting to look at this.
Correct.
We are just opening up that door.
Yeah.
so
Yeah, any ordinance,
like we're gonna do it in the next 2 months.
right. And any ordinance amendment would have to go through both planning commission and a public hearing and the township board, so,
There is a process. so.
yeah. But,
It
yeah.
is going to take some time.
If we can,
There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are on to, these two guys sitting right here know about what kind of time, yeah.
yeah,
All right, item E, notice of intent to plan, master plan amendment. Is this really just for information for us?
Mostly to, I don't know if you need to do a motion, but you can have, whoops, that's not the right one. This one. Staff is prepared to, basically as follow-up to what we've been talking about, study session with the kind of South Airport Town Line Road area. This is our draft notice of intent to update the master plan. We are prepared to issue that to those who need to receive it. If you want to just take a look, I don't know if you need a motion to direct staff to do that, but this is our draft notice.
sure, I'll make a motion that we file the draft notice of intent to update the master plan.
Support.
Motion by Agostinelli, support by Robertson. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same. Motion passes. All right, we are on to item number 8. Either of you two gentlemen wish to make any public comment? Step up, state your name, address, fire away.
Wayne Kiley, 9514 South M37, Buckley. Good evening, Commissioners, staff. When I first appeared before you, I made a very disparaging remark about the corner property located at Town Line and South Airport. And I didn't know the owner, had no association with it, but I characterized it as being the first property that people see when they exit the Traverse City Airport. And I'd like to recharacterize that. I think it's a beautiful piece of property today.
It's under new ownership, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
As of Monday. We've got a whole different perspective on it now. I don't know if Monday, and it's a little late for staff to get this in a package probably for you, but on Monday I submitted an email to the staff, and I don't know if Steve's had even a chance to look at it. But on Friday and Saturday of this past weekend, I went door to door on every neighbor that I could reach that lives contiguous with our properties. And I was able to meet with 9 different property owners and actually got signatures of support from all of them, with one exception. Actually, I had one exception, and that was a lady that says, well, I can't support you, but I'd much rather have a hotel there than apartments. So I thought, and wish me luck. So I thought that was good. But the other 8, including Mr. Cliff Boyd that was in here, I sat down with him yesterday, and every one of the people that I met with, I literally went in their home, sat down with them, and showed them a site plan and talked openly about the potential for a hotel, potential for a restaurant, and ancillary businesses that support the airport and the community and so forth. And I was just blown away by the level of support that I received. But I just wanted you to know that I made that effort to reach and talk to anybody that would listen to me about it. So we're pleased with where we are in the process. And since we first appeared, Rob and I together here, I think since that time we've acquired 3 additional properties, including the one on Monday, and more to follow. So I think so. Thank you very much. If you have any questions for Rob or me or anything?
Stick with us.
Well, we appreciate what your support, and you have a nice evening.
Thank you for your time. Well, if there's no other public comment, we'll move on to item number 9, other business, of which there is none. Items for our next agenda, September 24th, 2025. Master Plan Amendment Review, Airport Gateway. And item number B, Mixed Use Neighborhood, Existing Land Use, Zoning Potential Uses, Applied Areas. So that's kind of a furtherance of our previous discussions, right?
Yep, yeah, that was the direction we got from Plan Commission, and yep, we will be looking at the master plan amendment. Staff has started drafting some of the language for that section, and one of my tasks this week is also implications elsewhere in the master plan, like how does that affect the future land use map and non-motorized plan map or anywhere else in the master plan. I get to do mapping, so I'm happy with that.
It's one of your favorite things.
It is one of my favorite things, really. And now that we have directive to issue the notice of intent to plan as of 5 minutes ago. So, and then follow up on the food truck as well.
Very good. So yeah, so item C would be food truck follow-up.
Food truck follow-up. Okay.
All right. Well, look forward to seeing everybody on September 24th. Bob?
Gotta make a motion, we adjourn.
We're adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.